$2 million for a consulting contract. That's how much St. Louis County is paying to an out-of-state firm to eliminate waste and inefficiencies. But some council members question whether the money could have been better spent on struggling businesses that are having a hard time because of COVID. Investigative reporter Chris Nagus is digging into that contract.
There's a good chance you have never heard of the Boston Consulting Group, and until I started asking some St. Louis County council members about it, they had neither.
I have heard nothing about this, Chris. You're calling me today. That's the first information that I've ever heard about this.
Ritter Heard Days questions the nearly $2 million two-month contract with the out-of-state firm. According to the RFP, the county was seeking an outside perspective to deploy best practices and for identifying and eliminating unnecessary duplication and eliminating inefficiencies and waste in government, among other goals. Councilmember Tim Fitch believes the expense is a waste.
Most consultants, all they do is gather information that you already have. They get it from you to begin with, and then they spit it back at you and send you a bill.
According to the services agreement with Boston Consulting, it's unnecessary expenditure incurred due to the public health emergency with respect to COVID-19. The expense is paid for with CARES dollars allocated to the county from the federal government. The county council did not authorize the expense because they weren't asked. The county executive has oversight on how CARES dollars are allocated.
This is a nearly $2 million agreement, and right now he is begging the federal government for more money for these businesses that he has shut down in St. Louis County, when this $2 million could have easily gone to these businesses that are suffering because of the orders that he's been issuing.
Do you support that price tag in this project?
Well, no, we have lots of people in St. Louis County and St. Louis County government that could probably do this. And $2 million could go a long way in my community in helping with the food insecurities, with housing insecurities, those kinds of things. That my community has been devastated by this virus.
But not every council member feels the same. Ernie Trachis believes this could produce a long-term benefit.
I think that it's important that the county avail itself of an objective, independent, third-party expert to review its operations with respect to inefficiency.
He will consider the nearly $2 million expense worth it if BCG can identify up to $80 million a year in savings, or about 10% of the county's budget, and only if the county actually acts on it.
I don't think it's money ill spent if we as a government and government officials have the guts to do what has to be done once these recommendations are put in place.
For those opposed to this contract, it also shines a light on another issue. The county executive is allowed to make unilateral decisions with the CARES dollars received by the feds.
Initially, we voted to give complete control, 173 point whatever million dollars, to the county executive. That's how this happened.
And why was that done?
That was a request from the county executive. And unfortunately, it was along a party line, a vote. I joined the majority in that. And as I've said, several times since that, I do regret that vote.
BCG is required to submit invoices to the county. News 4 has requested those. Councilmember Fitch believes the spending needs to be scrutinized.
This is something where we on the county council sorely need a professional auditor to go into a situation like this and look at a contract like this and figure out who's getting what.
And although Councilmember Trachis believes expenses should be scrutinized, he worries what would happen if government inefficiencies and waste aren't rooted out now, especially as less revenue is expected because of COVID.
I guarantee you what's coming down the road is someone is going to put forth the idea that we need to raise taxes because of lost revenue. And I have said, and I'll continue to say, the only time I'm ever going to consider raising taxes is when I believe that the county no longer has duplication of efforts, no longer has inefficiencies and programs and services that it doesn't need. When we get to that place, if we still have a deficit, then that's a different conversation. But that's why this report is so important.
Nobody with the county executive's office was available to speak on camera, but I'm told this consulting group could release some of their findings as soon as this week. I'm also told there were 5 different bids for this contract. I've requested those bids. I am still waiting to get those back. In Clayton, Chris Nagus, News 4 investigates.